Greetings, Cowboy fans. Today, we're going to rank the greatest offensive linemen in Dallas Cowboys franchise history. Gino from Cowboys Coffee Talk here, and today I want to talk about the least sexy position group, yet the most important, the offensive line. After all, the game is won and lost in the trenches. Now, this is one of a series of videos I'm doing, ranking the top Dallas Cowboys position by position, culminating in a video ranking the top 10 greatest Cowboys of all time. With the offensive line, the Cowboys have a pretty rich history there, so I've decided to split it into two: interior offensive linemen and offensive tackles. So, without further ado, let's start with the offensive tackles. Before I count down the top 5 offensive tackles, I do just want to give an honorable mention to Pat Donovan. Didn't quite crack this list, but here's who did. Number 5 is Eric Williams. Now, Eric Williams definitely could have challenged for number 1 on this list had he not suffered a nearly career-ending injury following an automobile accident early on in his career. However, he still played long enough to rank number 5 on my list. One of the meanest and nastiest offensive lineman I've ever seen, who is the only guy that could get under Reggie White's skin. So kudos to Eric Williams, he's number 5 on this list. Number 4, FLOZELL Adams. The forgotten man when discussing the great offensive lineman in team history, but he did flourish during the Bill Parcells era, and his value was never more evident than when he went down with the injury in the divisional round loss to the Vikings in 2010. And the team's offensive line completely unraveled without him. Number 3 on this list is our current left tackle, TYRON SMITH. A true physical specimen. It was once said of TYRON SMITH that if God created the perfect offensive lineman, it would look like TYRON SMITH. Now, back injuries have held him in check the last few years, and hopefully he does bounce back and ascends further up this list. But even still, there were several years where he was widely considered the best offensive lineman in the entire NFL. Number 2, Ralph Neely. Ralph Neely helped anchor the offensive line that contributed to 2 Super Bowl victories in the 1970s, and many believe that he should join his teammate RAYFIELD in the Hall of Fame. And number 1 on the list of offensive tackles is none other than RAYFIELD, the Hall of Famer. Now, RAYFIELD was a converted tight end, and in his first game had to go up against legendary pass rusher Deacon Jones. While Deacon Jones did get the better of him that day, few players ever did after that. En route to a stellar Hall of Fame career, RAYFIELD is number 1 in the all-time list of Dallas Cowboys offensive tackles. Okay, now for the second half of the video, let's move on to the even less sexy interior offensive line, where the Cowboys just happen to have a very rich history. First off, though, I do have a couple honorable mentions. Mark Stepnowski and Mark Tuinei, 2 members of the Great Wall of Dallas offensive line in the 90s. The first man to crack this list, at number 5, is Travis Frederick. Ironically, one of the least popular draft picks in franchise history, rose to become one of the more popular players of his generation. As soon as he was drafted, he immediately helped legitimize the Dallas Cowboys offensive line and turn them into one of the league's worst, into the second coming of the Great Wall of Dallas. Coming in at number 4 and steadily rising up this list is ZACK MARTIN. ZACK MARTIN is arguably the best offensive lineman in the NFL today, and he's well on his way to a Hall of Fame career and potentially on his way to challenging for number 1 on this list. At number 3 is Nate Newton. Nate Newton is one of the most popular players in franchise history. Often the brunt of jokes due to his weight, he was no joke when 330 pounds of him pulled a lead block for Emmitt Smith. His opponents must have thought he looked like a runaway freight train. So Nate Newton comes in at number 3 on this list. Coming in at number 2 is John NILAND. NILAND credited his success to having to face Hall of Famer Bob Lilly in practice every day. That helped him become one of the premier interior offensive linemen in the entire NFL and culminated in helping the Dallas Cowboys win their first Super Bowl championship. That leads us to number 1 on this list, and that's Larry Allen. Not only is Larry Allen widely considered the greatest offensive lineman in Cowboys history, he has a strong argument as the greatest offensive lineman in the entire history of the NFL. Known for his freakish strength, he once bench pressed 700 pounds with Rocket Ismail somersaulting over his chest. And just as impressive as his strength was his athleticism, which was on full display when he chased down a linebacker on an interception return to make a tackle. Larry Allen was a dominant force, an 11-time Pro Bowler and 7-time All-Pro. He is undoubtedly the greatest interior offensive lineman in Dallas Cowboys history, offensive lineman, and he's definitely in the running for top Dallas Cowboy of all time. There you have it, the top 5 offensive tackles and the top 5 interior offensive linemen in Dallas Cowboys franchise history. If you liked the video, don't forget to hit that thumbs up button. Throw in a comment in the comment section below if you do want to share your thoughts. And please subscribe to the channel if you'd like to hear more Cowboys content. Go Cowboys!